If you were in the market for an American vehicle, there's a pretty good chance that a full-size pickup truck quickly comes to mind. In fact, this segment of vehicle is so popular here in America that nearly 1 million people take one home with them every year, which is why GMC has brought me and a bunch of other journalists to the very tip of North America, here just outside of St. John's in Newfoundland, to test out this vehicle. This is the all-new 4th generation 2019 GMC Sierra Denali. Now, GMC says this all-new truck is riding on a new frame. It's got a bolder, more in-your-face design, and it sports several new innovative features that are supposed to be class exclusive. But the big question is, does this all-new Sierra have what it takes to be the best in the segment? That's what we're here to find out. So 2018 is looking to be a pretty big year for full-size trucks. You guys remember my review of the 2019 Ram, and GMC is basically retaliating with an all-new version, the 4th generation of the GMC Sierra. Now, you guys have known for a long time the Sierra shares a platform with the all-new Silverado, which I'll have to show you guys a full review on later on. But today we've got the all-new Sierra, and you can see the design is definitely very, very distinctive. GMC kind of really redid the front fascia of this car. Everything has kind of just been butched up. It's been kind of made more masculine with a much taller grille, taller looking headlights. The whole truck itself is actually 1.5 inches to 4 inches taller than the previous generation. Now, one thing that GMC likes to amplify or show off is the fact that they're kind of like a more premium brand, which means LED headlights, full LED headlights are standard across the board. This Denali version kind of has a slightly upgraded LED with automatic high beams. You have LED, the C-shaped LED running light, an LED turn signal, LED low and high beams, and then LED fog lights at the bottom. And then when this car launches, or when this truck launches, it'll be offered in 6 different trims. I've only got the SLT, the AT4, and the Denali. The Denali, of course, being the top of the stack. It has its own unique grille, which I think actually looks really great. I love the chrome all over the front end with the big GMC badge. It's got a new front camera at the front to show you a 360 view, which I'll show you on later in the interior. And then with the Denali trim, you just get more chrome everywhere, and it just looks almost like the heavy-duty version. That's the one thing about this truck that I really like. It's a lot taller, and it just has a much more masculine look versus the previous generation. Now, looking at the wheel size, the Denali is available with either a 20-inch or these upgraded 22-inch wheels, which you get with the Denali Ultimate package. You can also upgrade, of course, to an all-terrain tire on certain trims. The AT4 has its own more aggressive set of wheel and tires to basically make this more off-road capable. Now, one thing that GMC said they did is they stretched the wheelbase by 4 inches on the crew cab configuration. They only have the crew cabs here for us to drive this time, but you can still take it in a regular cab, a double cab, or an extended cab, and then this full-size crew cab. And then it's available in either the short bed like this one, which is a 5'8" box, or a standard bed, which is a 6 foot by 6 box. Now, in terms of the ground clearance, this one being the Denali has about 9 inches of ground clearance. The AT4 actually has 2 more inches of ground clearance, which puts it around 11 inches. So it's a pretty capable truck. Now, one thing I also really like, the Denali Ultimate package gives you these power deploying running boards. So when you basically open up the door here, they'll come out just like some of the other competitors. But there's a new feature that they added this year. Let's say you want to get into the bed, but there's no step over here. There's a little button here you can just kick with your foot, and then it basically makes the running board come right out, so you can actually get out here and step, reach whatever it is that's in the inner part of the bed. So really clever feature. This running board will basically go back to where it was when you drive away, or you can just hit the button again and it'll make the running board retract and go back into its closed-in setting. Now, at the rear of the Sierra, this one, of course, has a bunch of stuff in it. I'll show you guys another clip where I'll demonstrate the new multi-pro tailgate, but I just want to talk about the styling. These new LED taillights, which, by the way, they're full LEDs, they remind me a little bit of the new Honda Ridgeline with the way they look. Again, it's a really handsome looking truck. I think this is a better looking truck in the rear end versus the F-150 and the new Ram. In typical GM fashion, you have that corner step here that also lets you get in and out of the truck really easily. And then they'll also have a dual integrated exhaust, which actually looks really nice. The upper trims are the only ones to get this, and I believe the AT4 has a slightly different look to the exhaust system. But let me show you guys the multi-pro tailgate with all of this crap in it, because this is probably the most innovative part of the all-new Sierra. So one of the coolest features of the new GMC Sierra definitely has to do with the multi-pro tailgate. Now GMC says there's 6 different functions or ways you can open this tailgate to basically make your life of loading and unloading stuff into the bed a little bit easier. Now, like a lot of other trucks on the market, the bed is hydraulically assisted, or the tailgate. So you can just push this button here, just double tap it, and then the tailgate will automatically come down. It doesn't slam, of course, on you, but a lot of other manufacturers offer that feature. Now, sequentially, there are 2 buttons here. If you push the bottom button, then the top button, the inner part of the tailgate will open to kind of give you like an access mode. So if you're short like myself, you can kind of get into the bed a little bit easier and allow you to grab whatever it is inside the bed. Now, one thing I am noticing, this little lower tailgate does not close when the actual full tailgate is open. Instead, once you actually lift it up to a certain point, then it allows you to fully close that. Now, another mode that GMC really was showing off to us is if you just push the top button here and then lower the half section of the tailgate, it creates a little bit of like a workstation, a table here, and it's at the perfect level for me. But make sure you guys check that if you're a little bit taller than myself, but it's a really nice feature. Now, you're probably also wondering, what if you want to get into the bed of this vehicle? Well, if you want to do this sequential button push again, if you push down this little button here, it creates a nice little step, which GMC also included this little handle here. So shorter people like myself use this handle. You can easily get into the bed, no problem. Really gonna be a useful feature, especially if you guys are in the AT4 trim, which is literally 3 inches taller than this one. Now, this little partition here, I wanna show you guys another cool feature, because let's say, for example, you just had the little half bed down like this. You can also push this partition up, and it creates, again, a little bit of a bed extender. So if you guys have something taller or longer here, you can kind of leave the bed down. This partition also will work if you guys have the full bed down. And again, this is like the 5th or 6th mode that they basically give you. So this is a really cool feature of the bed. Now, when you guys are done fiddling with the fancy tailgate, you're also gonna notice that the space back here is actually 6 inches wider, which gives you a lot more space to put stuff in here. GMC is also one of the few trucks that give you these little indentations where you can actually lay wood across completely. They had little pieces of wood to show us that would fit perfectly. And it makes the bed very, very useful. Now, the bed itself is lined in steel. They also offer a carbon fiber box. They didn't have full pricing on the carbon fiber box yet, but it's available on the Denali trim as an option. It basically makes the bed so strong and so corrosion and dent resistant, you don't need to have this bed liner. Now, this bed liner, the spray-in one, is standard on the Denali trim. In case you guys are also wondering, the payload capacity, it can hold up to 1,990 pounds. This one, though, being the shorter bed, holds around 1,610 pounds, so it's actually about a little bit less than the previous generation. But I mean, overall, if you guys are gonna go for the, the shorter bed like this one or the longer bed, this is definitely one of the most innovative pickup beds in the segment. So as you approach the all-new Sierra, you're gonna notice one new feature with this all-new generation. It does offer the company's new smart key access system with push-button start. The previous generation didn't offer it at any price, so I'm really glad to see GM is now throwing that in. It basically works like all the other systems. It also includes remote start. You can open the tailgate from the actual part right here, but to activate the remote start, just push the lock button once and push and hold this little button here. And then the truck will start right up for you. To shut off the vehicle, just touch this button again until the engine shuts off. Now, as you approach the Sierra, you're gonna notice there is a button on the door handle here. If you push the button, it locks the door for you. To unlock it, there's no sensor on the back. Like some other cars, you have to push the button again, and that will unlock the door for you. Now, looking at the interior of this Denali version, I have to say, GMC said they really worked hard to make this interior feel even more upscale and more like a luxury car. I'm sad to report that the new Ram definitely has set the benchmark much higher. I will say that the Denali has nice leather seats with really high quality soft leather. They're also heated and cooled. They're like a 12-way power adjustment with a 2-person memory, which is nice. I like the Denali embroidered in it. it. But overall, the interior doesn't have that full-on luxury car feel, I'm thinking, compared to the new Ram. If you guys disagree with me, feel free to leave that in the comments below. The wood trim that you see here is open pore wood. This is genuine wood trim, and then the aluminum trim in here is also genuine. So there are some nice touches in this interior. Now getting in, there's a nice little grab handle to help short drivers like myself get in because this truck is a little bit higher. Now stepping in, GMC also said they worked hard to make the seating position sit up a little bit higher. You definitely notice that. You have that big hood that protrudes. You have to kind of get used to that. But when you shut the door, all new platform, so the truck's door sounds pretty solid as well. You can see here, looking at the rest of this interior at a glance, let me first start the truck up. Now, push button start, GMC has actually put the button down here, which actually it's a nice feeling button and it looks pretty interesting. But to start it up, like everything else, just put your foot on the brake and then tap the button to start the engine. Now you can see the gauges do a nice sweep. There's a big LCD helper screen in the center. And the 6.2 liter V8 doesn't really let you rev it up too much, but overall, it's definitely a nice, pleasing noise, and it's what a lot of typical truck buyers really prefer is a traditional V8 engine. Now, the rest of this interior, let's go over the rest of this interior for a second because it doesn't really look all that different to me versus the previous generation. You have the same basic dash layout here with the 8-inch GMC IntelliLink display. You have some stitching here on the dashboard. It's actually a faux stitching. It's not the genuine stitching you're going to find in some of the competitor vehicles, but it's also padded right here and stitched on the instrument panel hood. It's also padded right here on this upper portion, which is not what I expected actually. There's a good storage area right here, and then this little lid for the second glove box is also slightly padded, but it's all hard touch plastic down here. Looking at the door panels, you're also going to notice same padded soft touch materials from the front. From the dashboard. This is actual genuine leather. It's the same premium leather that you get on the seats. It's nice and soft. There's a good phone holder right here where you can basically grab the grab handle. The door handles also feel pretty hefty. They're chrome plated, but they're actually not metal feeling to me. They feel a little bit plasticky on the inside. Your window controls are down here, your door lock controls, your memory seat controls. The windows are one-touch automatic or express up-down for just the front windows. The back window is just express down, not express up. Kind of wish they just did both. You have a power folding mirror as well that you get on this trim, which is definitely nice for a big truck like this. And then you have more of that open pore wood. Lots more storage down here, which is great. It's what you expect in a truck like this. Now, looking at the steering wheel is unique than what you get in the steering wheel for the Silverado. It has really nice soft leather. I like the more expensive feeling stitching. I also like the real aluminum trim they put on the steering wheel. It's also a heated steering wheel, which is nice, but I kind of think the steering wheel rim is a little thin. This is a truck again, so I'm not expecting it to have like a fat steering wheel that feels good in your hands, but some competitors do give you that feature. The gauges have also been slightly updated, a little bit different font, a little bit different layout in terms of the, the tack and the speedometer design from the Silverado. You can also change the display by pushing on this button here. This controls the steering wheel as well. You can show, your trip computer there. You can show your music, your navigation function, phone, and then change all your different settings. This screen definitely looks nice. I like the upgraded graphics, but it's very traditional. Still have the 4 gauges at the very top of the screen right there, like the previous generation. Over here, is your actual drive mode selector, this big thing right here. If you twist it to the right, it'll cycle between touring, sport, off-road, and then a tow haul mode. We'll go into all the different driving modes later on in the test drive. The 4-wheel drive system also has a low-range transfer case. It has an automatic function, which is nice. You can turn on your LED bed lights from here. Your headlight controls are right there as well, which is nice. The center stack here, it has the new GMC IntelliLink 8-inch display. Let me go over that in just a second. But I do want to showcase that new head-up display. This is a segment first. No other pickup truck in the segment has that head-up display. It's a 7-inch display. GMC says it shows you lots of great information. Now, going over here to the center stack, you're going to see more genuine aluminum trim, which is nice. Big knobs, so knobs there for your climate controls, for your dual zone, and then you have an actual volume knob here, and then it looks like a tuning knob here, or you can actually scroll in to the map display from there. Going to the home screen here, you can see this is the newer IntelliLink head unit here that I've shown you in some other GMC products. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Although I will say the Apple CarPlay graphics, the screen looks a little bit coarse and grainy when you go to the Apple CarPlay. Compare that to the way it looks, how clear it looks when it's actually in the GMC screen. It's just something I kind of noticed. Now, the navigation display, you can see it's also the newer head unit. It works like a tablet. It's really quick, honestly. This is one of the quickest navigation displays I've seen. So GMC is really doing a good job with their new infotainment system. It has all the right stuff that you basically want to use. Now, The rest of the infotainment system here, I want to show you guys the camera because it's got a 360 camera system and it's got a new trailering app or trailing app that's built in here that allows you to, or assists you with hooking up a trailer. I really like the 360 camera. I mean, this feature is really important for a vehicle this large, and GMC does a really good job at showcasing everything. And the graphics, they could be a little bit crisper and clearer, but they're definitely going to get the job done, so I can't really complain too much about the graphics here. But I think a lot of owners are going to get into this. They're going to be pretty happy. The trailering app, I want to show you guys that really quick. Now, trailering for me is definitely, I'm definitely a novice when it comes to trailering. GMC said they designed this trailering app to work with either a professional tower, somebody who does it all the time, or a novice. When you have a trailer connected, this app basically monitors everything, your connections, if there's any faults, any maintenance. You can also monitor the tire pressure in the trailer, where GMC gives you kind of its own little display, or it gives you like a separate tire pressure monitoring, which you can have installed in your trailer, which is really great. You can see the Apple CarPlay decided to interrupt me there. But going back to the trailering app here, it'll monitor your connections and any maintenance. Now the checklist is really nice. It'll basically give you a checklist of everything you need to do when you have a trailer hooked up. That's something that's I personally wouldn't know to use. Now, apparently Ford has something very similar to this, but Ford kind of puts it in the app here, so they don't give you all the graphics and all the explanations like you get in the GMC trailering app. You can also name the trailer, so it kind of saves the profile, and then change your settings where the trailer detection alert also tells you if this car's trailer is trying to be stolen, which is apparently a really big problem. So it's really great if you guys plan to do a lot of towing. The trailering app is definitely something that you guys really want to use. Now, down here you can see several more buttons. You do have heated and cooled seats. You can also just change the heat to either be on the seat back or the seat bottom, which is nice. A lot more buttons here for the lane keep assist, parking sensors, the auto start stop. You can open your tailgate from here. And then GMC also gives you a traditional power outlet there, a USB-C and a USB port, and then your trailer brake controller is right here. Now the upper trims will also have a wireless charging port, which I like how they moved the location from here to here for the new generation. It's just a much bigger place to put stuff, and you have even more storage down there. Cup holders galore in this vehicle, and then the center console storage is huge, and then you have another USB and USB-C, and lots of places to hide your laptop computer, your purse, or whatever you want to hide. This bin is also nice and padded, which is nice. More cup holders over here. The seats, I find them to be pretty comfortable. The leather feels nice and soft, and they do hold you really nicely. They're great on long trips. Above you, the sunroof here is just a standard size sunroof. Some competitors offer a big one. The glove compartment here, you can see there's two of them. It's not lined with felt, but it is damped on the lower portion. Pretty good amounts of storage. And I think a lot of people are going to get into this truck. They're going to know exactly how to use this truck because everything's kind of really familiar here with the previous generation, but it just doesn't feel like they innovated much here. And some competitors like the new Ram have really upped their game. One thing I do want to showcase is the rear view mirror, which is actually an industry first as well. This is a part of the Denali Ultimate package. If you guys don't like it, you can kind of switch it back, but we've seen this rear view camera mirror in some Cadillac products. You can see it's supposed to not get in the way of things, but I've got some things in the bed right now, and because it looks like they've mounted the camera on the third brake light, it's actually still blocking my view there. So I actually prefer this view where I can see through the stuff. But I mean, overall, if you got people like in the back seat or stuff in the back seat, you can still kind of see your things. But this interior, I think, feels really nice, but I really wish GMC had, again, taken it a little bit of a step further to differentiate this from the Chevy and make the car feel even more like a luxury car. So the crew cab configuration of these big trucks is quickly becoming the top family vehicle here in America, and you'll see exactly why. Because of the wheelbase stretched by 4 inches, GMC was able to add 3 inches more legroom in the back. You can see here with the power deploying running boards, it really makes it easy to step in and out of this truck. There's also a nice little grab handle here to help shorter folks like myself get in. But let me move over to the other side here. The first thing I'm going to notice, there is a really nice flat floor back here, so it makes seating for 3 people across pretty easy. And look at this legroom. This is incredible. Like, this is more legroom than what you get in a lot of those full-size luxury sedans that a lot of people are actually trading in their vehicles. Thankfully, being the Denali trim, you have 3-level heated seats, you have 2 USB ports, rear seat vents, you have a actual 12-volt power outlet there, and then you have some cup holders right there. Now, another thing you also get are cup holders on this side here, to give you a little bit more storage. And the bench itself, it's really comfortable, good visibility. One thing I am noticing, there's no Pano sunroof option available on this car, but it also gives you a lot more headroom here. The F-150 and its Pano sunroof option is definitely a nice feature that some people really like. Like other pickup trucks, you can also lift up this little seat here, and it gives you a little bit of storage underneath here when you guys aren't planning to use the second row. So with an all-new truck, GMC is also throwing in several all-new powertrain configurations. Unfortunately, they only have the 5.3 and 6.2 liter V8, which are technically carryover for us to drive at this media program. And like a lot of other truck manufacturers, GMC likes to proudly point out which motor you got. This one, of course, having the 6.2, lets everybody know on the front fenders. Now, getting over here to lift up the hood, you can see it's definitely much taller because I actually can't even reach the top of the hood without getting on my tippy toes. But this is the big 6.2 liter V8. It's the most powerful engine available currently on the Sierra. It's actually pretty unchanged versus the previous generation. The biggest difference is they've tweaked the active fuel management so it can now run on 2 cylinders to help save gas. It still makes 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. It's still a pushrod engine. It still has direct fuel injection now. The 5.3 V8 is also a pretty popular choice. That still makes 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. Now, later on in the year, they're going to offer 3 other powertrains: a base 4.3 liter V6, which is carryover, an all-new 2.7 liter turbocharged four-cylinder. That's the first we've seen in a full-size truck. I haven't driven that yet, so I'll be curious to see how that drives. And then, of course, there's also a 3-liter diesel that'll go head-to-head with the Ram EcoDiesel and the F-150 diesel and the Titan XD diesel. Now, transmissions, there's also 3 transmissions. Base engines will use a 6-speed. The mid-level engines will use an 8-speed. This 6.2 will use the new 10-speed automatic, which I actually sampled in the Tahoe RST. It's a GM and Ford design transmission. Really great transmission. We'll go into the test drive later on. Now, fuel economy, you'd also think this is improved. The 5.3s offer up to 23 mpg on the highway if you guys go for 2-wheel drive. 4-wheel drive like knocks like 1 or 2 mpg. This one is rated at 1520, which is technically a little bit less than the new Silverado with the same powertrain, so I'm a little confused by that. It's also roughly the same gas mileage as the previous generation, so GMC is a little bit behind in terms of the fuel economy. Towing capacity, this particular one will tow 9,300 pounds. It will tow up to 12,100 pounds depending on the cab configuration, which drivetrain you actually get. As this one sits, GMC said this new platform weighs around 360 pounds less than the old one, but this one weighs around 5,500 pounds, which is technically the same. It's still a relatively heavy truck, but you guys have been waiting. Let's get it out on the road and see how this 6.2 liter performs. So thankfully, with the Sierra having 9 inches of ground clearance, you know, it's a truck, so you can basically do a lot of truck things with it, and that involves going out into these little rock-infested or dirt roads to go find great places to film these things. And then when you kind of leave, you know, it's kind of easily going to make its way back. Now, one thing I am noticing with the 22-inch wheels with this trim, it's not the most off-road ready version. That's what the AT4 is designed to do with its 18-inch wheels or the optional 20s and the all-terrain tires. But, you know, with a truck with 22-inch wheels and street tires, this thing kind of just gets along fine. I actually had it in 2-wheel drive most of the times, and it kind of just got through this area pretty well. But when you finally settle into the Sierra's driver's seat, you're definitely going to notice the fact that you do sit up higher in this new truck. The hood especially is more pronounced. It sits up a lot higher, and your view, if you're short, definitely is a little bit more challenging. It's just something you kind of have to get used to if you guys aren't used to driving big trucks. You're going to get into this and probably find it a little bit of a chore. You also feel how much wider the truck is. I mean, it's like 1.5 inches wider on a vehicle that was already 80 inches wide. So it's kind of a big, ridiculously big vehicle, but it gives you a lot of space in here. As you guys can see, I can't even reach the other side of this vehicle because it's such a wide vehicle. Now, when you come to a full stop, the truck also has start-stop, and you can shut it off, unlike some other GM products. And when you lift off the brake, it's relatively quick. I've definitely tried systems that are a little bit faster, but again, at least GMC gives you the option to shut it off for you truck guys who don't like features like that. So most of these trucks are going to live on the road, and this is precisely where the Denali version of the Sierra really excels. The 6.2 liter V8 in this vehicle really provides plenty of power, and it also sounds great. Now, if you guys think it's not loud enough, GMC also offers a performance-tuned exhaust to give you a little bit more of a bark. But if you guys are looking for a traditional V8, the Sierra 6.2 really delivers in that regard. But going down the road here, you definitely feel how big this truck is. It takes up a pretty good amount of space on the road, but it gives you that nice commanding view of the road that a lot of people really love. You have big side mirrors, and you just feel like you're like king of the road, and that's something that, again, people really purchase a vehicle in this segment for. Now, I want to talk about the transmission. This is a new 10-speed automatic that's a Ford and GM design transmission. Let's go into the sport mode over here. Put our foot down. You can see it downshifts automatically. It's really quick to respond. I'm really impressed with how fast it responds and downshifts. I mean, because it's got 10 speeds to go through, and when I put my foot down, it'll quickly go out of its top gear and drop down like 3 or 4 gears to give you the extra power you'd like. There's no performance data on this car just yet, but I'm going to come to a full stop. We'll do another acceleration. We can try to gauge how it feels. But the ride quality is also something that has been improved. It's got this truck has the first in the segment adaptive dampers. You only get that on the Denali version. And I have to say, it's a very smooth riding, comfortable truck on smooth roads like this. However, if you're gonna be on slightly bumpier roads, the 22-inch wheels do transmit a lot of impacts into the cabin, and you definitely feel that. So I recommend going with the smaller 20s if you guys are looking for the softest ride possible. So I'm gonna come to a stop here. I'm gonna leave the 4-wheel drive system in 2-wheel drive. You can see the auto start stop came on. We're gonna floor it and we'll see how it feels. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a quick truck. This is quicker than the last Ram, the new 5.7 or the 5.7 Hemi base engine in the Ram without the e-torque. I haven't had a chance to drive the e-torque yet, but it feels like it will get to 60 in just under 6 seconds, like 5.8, 5.9 seconds. It honestly doesn't feel like it's changed too much from the previous generation. And this powertrain, I really liked it in the Tahoe RST. It works just as well in this vehicle, and it will move the truck out smartly. So those of you who are looking for a nice V8 pull, you're gonna find a lot to like with this vehicle. Now, in terms of the driver assistance, the one feature that this truck is missing that really infuriates me is adaptive cruise control. It's got automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection. It's got active lane keep assist. And it's got automatic headlights. I just don't get why GMC decided not to make adaptive cruise control available on this truck. I mean, I understand some truck buyers really don't care for that feature, and let me know in the comments below if you're one of those people. However, if you're gonna be spending, $60,000+ on a truck like this, don't you wanna have all the latest tech features, and that includes adaptive cruise control? One thing that I always noted, a lot of people actually trade in luxury sedans for these big trucks, and you demand all of those tech features again. You don't want to lose those when you guys are switching vehicles. But I mean, other than that, it's got a really comfortable driving position, great seats, good visibility, decent ride quality if you guys probably spring for the smaller diameter wheels, and it's pretty quiet in here. We're on this kind of gravelly part of the road, and I was expecting it to be really noisy, but it's not. The Sierra definitely has good amounts of sound deadening to really quiet down the cabin. The steering in this truck is also electric. It is pretty numb. It's pretty devoid of feel, but it's precise enough. It's a little bit slow to respond, but I'm not going to ding it too much. This is a truck. It's not a sporty vehicle, which is why when I put it into a sport mode here and it shows a little checkered flag in the instrument panel, I find it to be a little bit silly. But it shows that GMC is definitely looking to update their vehicles, and it's a great driving truck. Has a lot of features in it that a lot of buyers are going to love. It's roomy in here. It's comfortable. Is it better than some of the players like the new F-150, the all-new Ram? It's hard for me to say without driving the trucks back to back, but I do like the familiarity with the interior of this vehicle, and the updated graphics in the instrument panel is nice. The head-up display is nice, but I really wish that it's missing 2 features basically that I wish this truck had, and that's pano sunroof and then adaptive cruise control with like low-speed follow feature. But other than that, you're going to kind of get into this vehicle and really like it. Fuel economy, I can't really talk too much about that because I'm on this short little media drive here. Also, the truck itself is showing everything in kilometers and liters, so it's kind of confusing me. Like, for example, it's saying I'm going 100 kilometers an hour, which is technically only like 62 miles per hour. The truck itself, actually, I believe will top out at around 105 miles per hour. That's what they've governed the vehicle to. And honestly, the V8 is so powerful, it'll keep pulling past that, well past that, if you guys want to remove the limiter. So yeah, this thing will burn out its rear tires, even with stuff in the bed. I've got a good amount of crap in the bed right now, but if you don't have it in four-wheel drive high or four-wheel drive auto, the rear tires will do a nice little burnout, especially when you got 460 pound-feet of torque. So when you find some twisty roads in the Sierra, this is kind of where, again, the truck reminds you that this is a heavy, big truck. It's not the lightest and sportiest feeling in the segment. That distinction belongs to the F-150, which is one of the lighter offerings. But the Sierra can definitely handle it. The sport mode doesn't really make a difference to me. I have it in sport mode now in terms of the steering. The shocks go into a little bit of a firmer suspension damping, and then the transmission also is a little bit more eager to downshift and give you, or get out of its top gear. So it makes the truck feel quicker, but it doesn't actually make the truck feel that much sportier to drive, just makes it a little bit more responsive when you put your foot down. The noise is really nice. I like the head-up display. You can see really well out of it. And I think a lot of buyers are going to find a lot to like. Honestly, all of the trucks in the segment offer a lot. And it's hard to really choose. It's really going to come down to what your personal taste and preference is. But I think for those of you who really like the GMC brand and the Denali badge and what it gives you, this one should definitely be one of the top players in the segment. So as full-size trucks continue to grow more technologically advanced, it certainly makes my job that much more difficult in trying to decide which one is actually the better buy. Between Ford, Ram, and GMC, they all offer a lot that help differentiate themselves. So after spending the day with the 2019 GMC Sierra, how has GMC differentiated itself from the pack? Well, as you guys heard earlier, I actually think this is the best looking of all the trucks. I really like the AT4 model, however. The Denali kind of had a little too much chrome for me. The AT4 with its blacked out grille, the blacked out accents, the raised suspension, the off-road oriented wheels and tires, really is just a handsome overall truck. And as you guys also saw from the test drive, its power from the 6.2 liter engine is really one of the tops in the class. It sounds terrific with the sport exhaust that this particular one has. And the 10-speed transmission also is one of the better options with its quick shifts and its intuitive tuning. Really, where the GMC kind of falls is a little bit in the tech department. Adaptive cruise control is not available. Panoramic sunroof is not available. And I think at this price point, GMC should really consider adding those features, considering the fact that Ram and Ford also throw those in on the top trim levels. So with all that said, if you guys are looking to purchase one of these trucks, what's it going to cost? Well, GMC didn't have full final pricing yet for the regular cab as of this filming. I'll put that in the description below. However, I do know that the crew cab, a base crew cab, starts at around $39,000, which is about $3,000 higher versus last year's 2018 model. This particular one, being the AT4 with all its off-road oriented gear, starts at $53,000. And then the Denali that I showed you earlier in this video starts at around $58,000. As you guys know, at trucks, they have a plethora of options on them. The Denali earlier was stickered for around $65,000 because it had the $5,700 Ultimate package and the upgraded engine. This one has the AT4 Premium package, a Tech package, the upgraded engine, and then the power sunroof for a grand total of around $64,000, which I know it sounds like a lot of money, but keep in mind, fully loaded versions of the F-150 and the Ram can easily kiss $70,000, which is, I know, sticker shock for a lot of you looking for a full-size truck that's basically a luxury car. But with all that said, I think that GMC still has a lot to offer, and when it does go on sale in the fall of 2018, I imagine a lot of owners are going to be, or at least a lot of people looking for a truck are going to be putting this one at the top of your list. But I hope you guys have also enjoyed my full overview on this 2019 GMC Sierra. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.
Okay, this is 74.
Okay.
So we've already continued, well, I don't know if we've continued straight for 74. I don't know, if you see a left turn for 80 south towards Dildo, go on that. We've already coming close, turn left on 80 south towards Dildo. Because we probably put like, what, maybe a mile off-road?
No, less than that. Half a mile. Oh, here we go, Dildo.
Yeah, there you go.
This is an interesting... Oh, ouch. So Dildo is 45 miles. Oh, there's a Green Harbor. Where are we going again?
We are going, so after we turn to base camp.
Okay. So what's the mileage? I'm sorry? 30?
What'd you turn at?
31.9.
0.9?
Yeah.
So that means we put 1.4 extra miles on.
Kilometers.
Whatever. Okay, yeah, 2 kilometers. There you go.
Okay.